I'm a big fan of documentaries, and this has got to be one of the best.
Before we get started, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content in the future.
Val is a documentary that is now streaming on Amazon Prime, and it's put out by A24 as well. And it's about Val Kilmer's life behind the scenes of the movies that he's made over the years and the illnesses that he's dealing with and facing right now. A lot of it is very heartbreaking because I didn't really realize that this guy was going through this tough of a time. I knew that he was having some medical issues. I knew like throat cancer and stuff like that, but I didn't realize all the other stuff that was going on with this guy. And him and his son and his daughter has put together this beautiful documentary that Val Kilmer, throughout the years from whenever he was really young and in film school, he had a camcorder that he always carried around with him, and he documented so many things of just his life journey. And it really is, he states several times in this documentary that he's lived a magical life. And I have to say, yes, he really has. He has done some of the best work. Some of the films I have forgotten that he's done, like for instance, I forgot that he was even Elvis in True Romance. A lot of people don't think about that because they do kind of hide his face and everything because he was kind of like in the background and stuff like that with Christian Slater. And I kind of forgot about that performance. But you know, they go over like from when he was a young kid, him and his brother making movies in the backyard and out on the ranch, and his mom and dad's life and the struggles that his family faced. And I don't want to go too far into it because a lot of it is pretty heartbreaking, and you just see the struggles that Val Kilmer faced, and he never let any of that down. Like he never let any of that get him down. He had a vision. He wanted to be a movie star, and he made it happen. And yes, he faced a lot of bumps in the road, but he has made some of the best films and had some of the best performances of all time that we will, as critics and film lovers, we will always appreciate and always think of him in a lot of these variety of roles. At first, whenever the documentary starts off, it was a voiceover, and it was talking like he was Val. And it kind of threw me off guard because I was thinking, I was like, well, if he has throat cancer and it's hard for him to talk, like how did he talk over this narration? But then it comes to find out that it's actually his son doing the narrating, and his son and him do this little Batman Robin little skit thing back and forth all throughout the documentary because I think it was really a lovely thing that they created here, and he's definitely got some good kids. If you haven't watched Val yet, it's been out for like a week or two at the most on Amazon Prime. I highly, highly recommend. Give it a watch, because out of most of the documentaries that I see when it comes to actors and behind the scenes and stuff like that, this has got to be one of the best I've ever seen. And it just shows, it makes you appreciate the art of film, the how actors and actresses that we think that we know them by just watching their performances, and they put on such a good performances, they make us believe who they are in that role. But deep down, we don't know a thing about these guys. They really are real people, and a lot of fans, we don't treat a lot of our actors and celebrities like they're real people. And this really was a touching documentary. I can't express it enough how much that you need to go see this, especially if you're a big fan of Val Kilmer and his work. I mean, they go over, you know, all the way from him playing Batman to Tombstone, where he's playing Doc Holliday, to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr. Just so many roles that he's played. You know, Ghost in the Darkness, when he was in Heat. I mean, you could tell that Val Kilmer, he loves acting. He was a serious actor. He does express that he wasn't a big fan of being Batman because he didn't really get to do his dramatic acting abilities. And most of the Batman movies are more focused on the villains. The villains get more the forefront of the best acting, like the Joker, the Riddler, Two-Face, Bane. They all get like the forefront. Those are like the memorable roles in Batman movies. So you could tell that he wasn't very thrilled at playing Batman, which he only did it one time, and then after Michael Keaton, he turned it down. So Val Kilmer, he turned it down. And then we get, what George Clooney did, and I thought that was perfect casting, but we all know how Batman and Robin went, so let's not talk about that. He's even got some behind the scenes footage of like him and Sean Penn and Kevin Bacon and him on the set of Willow where he met his wife, and just it makes me want to go and revisit a lot of these movies that he was in, because he has so much under his belt that it's quite impressive, and it's crazy that like when an actor hasn't been on a a hot streak for a long time, it's like we just kind of forget about him, and Hollywood just kind of like throws in the next big actor. But this guy was a hot shot, no doubt about it. He was top of his game. He took his job seriously. When he showed up to set, he was there and he was going to give it his all. They even do behind the scenes of The Island of Dr. Moreau, where he was said that working with Marlon Brando was like a dream come true, but that production was so cursed from the get-go, and they kind of go over it, and how like one director dropped out, then we got another director, and he was threatening to quit, and he was being a real asshole on set, and Marlon Brando wasn't having it. He was through with the production. But it makes me want to go back and watch that movie. I always heard that movie had like problems behind the scenes, but I never really dug into it or anything like that. But this was the first time I really realized that how many problems they did have on set. But one thing you can say about Val Kilmer is that he is a very diverse actor. He is probably one of the best out there. Like for me, my favorite actor of all time is Leonardo DiCaprio. That he's a very diverse actor. He can do anything and everything, and being reminded and watching a lot of these films that Val Kilmer did throughout the years reminds me how diverse his acting was and how serious he was. I would say he was up there with some of the greats, and it's just a tragedy that it's unfortunate that he was diagnosed with throat cancer, and it's hard for him to talk, and he's still trying to recover from it. It even shows him going to like Comic-Cons and him getting sick. It was just kind of heartbreaking to the point to where I was like, man, this is hard to watch at times, but it makes you feel closer to that person. You get to understand the actor beneath the surface. We don't just see the face that we see in all the films and what we remember with all his great performances. We actually get to know the real Val. So there's not too much more I want to touch on this, because I don't want to give anything away. If you love acting, if you love filmmaking, if you are a fan of this guy Val Kilmer and his work in the past, Top Gun, I mean list goes on and on of the films that he's made, I'll highly suggest you to go check this out immediately, because this really takes a deep dive in the behind the scenes of the acting world and him growing up in Hollywood. And so yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to rate this. I don't really like doing a rating thing. There's certain movies that are amazing and you could give an A+ to, or a 10 out of 10, and you might not ever want to watch it again just because of the material or how heartbreaking it is, the mood that it sets you in, or whatever. And then there's movies that are A+, 10 out of 10, and you'll watch them over and over like they're a masterpiece. And this is one of those that's like, I may watch this one more time in the future, but it was just, some parts were just so heartbreaking that I I appreciate everything that I see. I have mad respect for Val Kilmer now after knowing all the stuff and all the struggles that he went through life, with his family, through the acting, through him being diagnosed with throat cancer. He's definitely got a lot of support. His son and daughter are helping him make this documentary, and so is A24 and Amazon Prime giving him this opportunity to put it on their platforms, and that's amazing. And you know, it's remarkable. It's completely amazing. So all I can do is just stress for you to go see it. Go give this some support. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's streaming. Go watch it. If you have Amazon Prime, you have no reason not to watch it, okay? So, all right, before I let you go though, there is a movie that I didn't really see them talk too much about or anything, but he didn't have a big role, but he was in it, and it's a movie that I feel like that needs a lot more recognition because it's a really fun thriller, and it reunites him and Christian Slater like in True Romance. But it's called Mind Hunters. It's Val Kilmer, Christian Slater, LL Cool J, among others. It's a really big whodunit movie. I'll put some images up here. I may do a review of that in the future because that is one of my favorite like action thriller whodunit type films, and I was kind of like waiting to see like a little nod to him being on that set because that was one of the last big movies I saw him in, but that movie had also production issues as well, so it kind of got, you know, shelved for a while. But anyway, I really feel like Mindhunters was like Jigsaw, like Saw before Jigsaw was Saw, before James Wan did Saw. But anyways, there's a lot of similarities with the Puppet Master, the Puppeteer, and Jigsaw. But anyways, that's a whole nother video. I'll do a review on that in the future. But yeah, all right, that's all I have for you today. This is Destination Station. As always, I'm Destin, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.